The night was quiet in the wrong way. Snow drifted sideways under a pale moon. The outpost smelled like diesel, metal, and cold coffee. Christmas lights flickered on a sandbag wall. Red. Green. Wrong place. She stood at the edge of the fire team. Small frame. Helmet too clean. Someone snorted behind her. "Hope Santa brought earplugs," a voice said. A few men laughed. Not loud. Careful laughter. She kept her eyes forward. Her gloves were worn thin at the fingers. She flexed them once. The radio crackled with static and breath. Wind pushed through the razor wire. Somewhere far off, a dog barked. She smelled pine from a crushed branch under her boot. It reminded her of home. That thought made her jaw tighten. The lieutenant checked his watch. 5 minutes till shift change, he said. Someone muttered, "Hope she survives that long." She heard it. She always heard it. Her heartbeat stayed slow. Counted. Measured. Training never leaves you. A low thump rolled through the hills. Then another. The ground trembled like a held breath. "Contact?" someone asked. The sky lit up orange. Mortars. Close. Too close. The first explosion punched the air from her lungs. Dust filled her mouth. She tasted blood. Men shouted. Orders collided with panic. She dropped to one knee. Rifle up. Breath steady. A second blast shattered the quiet. Screams cut through the ringing in her ears. She smelled burning rubber and hot steel. Fear crawled up her spine. She pushed it down. Always push it down. "Where are they firing from?" the lieutenant yelled. No answer. Static screamed back. She scanned the ridgeline. Dark shapes. Too still. She felt it before she knew it. A pressure behind the eyes. A memory of maps and angles. "They're walking it in," she said. Her voice was calm. Almost gentle. A sergeant laughed. "Yeah. And you see that with magic?" Another round slammed closer. Shrapnel hissed past like angry insects. She didn't flinch. She adjusted her sight by a hair. Wind left to right. Distance longer than it looked. Her finger rested on the trigger. She waited. The men watched the sky. She watched the ground. "Trust me," she whispered. No one heard her. The third shot hit exactly where she expected. She fired once. The recoil kissed her shoulder. She fired again. Silence followed. Not peace. Shock. Then shouting from the hills. Confused. Panicked. The mortar fire stopped. Snow drifted back into place. Breathing came back to the outpost. Slow. Uneven. The lieutenant stared at her. "What the hell was that?" She lowered her rifle. Her hands were steady. Her pulse finally raced. A colonel stepped out of the shadows. Older. Scarred. Eyes sharp as broken glass. He watched the ridge. Then her. The men waited for anger. For blame. Instead, his voice dropped. Quiet enough to cut through the wind. "That's Black Viper." The name hit the air like thunder. Laughter died instantly. Someone swallowed hard. She felt every eye on her back. The snow kept falling. And far away, something shifted in the dark. The colonel didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. The name hung heavy. Like a loaded weapon no one wanted to touch. One soldier whispered, "No way." Another shook his head. "I heard she was dead." She kept staring at the ridgeline. Because that's where danger comes from. Not from rumors. Not from men talking behind you. The colonel stepped closer. Snow crunched under his boots. "You see it yet?" he asked her. She nodded once. "They're relocating," she said. "Smarter than the last group." The lieutenant frowned. "How can you tell?" She inhaled slowly. Cold burned her lungs. Because they stopped panicking, she said. Panicking men run. Trained ones adapt. A distant click echoed through the night. Metal on metal. A bolt. Her spine tightened. Down, she said. Not shouted. Certain. The ground exploded behind them. A shockwave lifted bodies like toys. Someone screamed her name. Someone prayed. She was already moving. Crawling through ice and mud. The smell of explosives clung to her hair. Her cheeks scraped stone. She tasted earth. The radio screamed again. This is Viper, she said into it. Her voice didn't shake. Enemy has eyes on command. Confirm counter sniper? The colonel asked. She didn't answer right away. She listened. Wind. Breath. A faint scrape from above. Her heartbeat slowed. There. She saw him. A shadow inside a shadow. Watching them bleed. Her finger tightened. The man beside her whispered, Do you miss? She thought of Christmas lights. Of laughter far away. Of why she never goes home. I don't, she said. She squeezed the trigger. The shot cracked the night open. The shadow vanished. Silence rushed in again. But this time, it felt wrong. Too clean. Her eyes narrowed. Colonel, she said quietly. There's another one. The wind shifted. And somewhere in the dark, a scope found her face. Her skin prickled before the sound came. A thin whistle. Too sharp to be wind. She rolled as the round tore through the snow where her head had been. Ice sprayed her cheek. Cold burned like fire. Sniper! Someone screamed. Too late. She was already up. Already moving. Her boots slipped on frozen ground. She caught herself on broken concrete. The smell of cordite thick in the air. Her breath fogged the scope. She wiped it with her sleeve. Slow. Controlled. The colonel's voice came through the radio. Black Viper, pull back. She didn't answer. Her eyes traced the ridgeline again. Higher this time. Smarter. She felt anger rise. Not loud. Cold. Personal. A memory flashed. Another winter. Another hill. Another voice telling her she was too small. Another shot cracked past her ear. The sound punched her skull. Her teeth rattled. Someone went down behind her. A hard thud. A cry cut short. Her chest tightened. Guilt tried to take root. She crushed it. Survival doesn't allow mercy. She pressed her cheek into the rifle stock. Felt the familiar groove. Like shaking hands with an old friend. She whispered numbers to herself. Distance. Angle. Wind. Her finger hovered. The night felt alive now. Watching. Waiting. Christmas lights flickered again. One bolt popped. Darkness crept closer. She exhaled halfway. Then stopped. A shape shifted in her peripheral vision. Too deliberate. She smiled without warmth. There you are, she thought. Before she could fire, the radio hissed. Urgent. Viper, the colonel said. His voice wasn't calm anymore. We just lost satellite feed. Her stomach dropped. The world narrowed to breath and heartbeat. Snow fell heavier. Sound disappeared. She realized then. This sniper wasn't hunting the outpost. He was hunting her. And somewhere in the dark, his finger was already tightening. The cold stopped feeling cold. That's when she knew it was bad. Her fingers went numb around the trigger. Not shaking. Numb. Snow piled on her sleeve without melting. Time stretched thin. Too thin to trust. She slowed her breathing until the world shrank. In. Out. Every sound sharpened. A distant cough. Boots scraping stone. A heartbeat that wasn't hers. She shifted 1 inch. Careful. The ridge stayed quiet. Too quiet. That's when fear whispered. Not panic. Recognition. He's patient, she thought. Just like me. A flash reflected off glass. Gone instantly. But it was enough. Her pulse jumped. She adjusted her position again. Snow soaked through her knee. Pain bloomed, then faded. Pain doesn't matter. Survival does. Behind her, someone sobbed softly. Trying not to. Trying to be brave. She wanted to turn. She didn't. You don't turn your back on death. The radio crackled again. Static. A half word. Then silence. She realized something else then. This wasn't random. This was personal. Her jaw tightened. Of course, she thought. Christmas Eve. A shadow moved lower on the ridge. Closer. Too close for comfort. Her stomach twisted. He was changing angles. Cutting her options. Smart. A bullet snapped past her shoulder. Close enough to steal heat. Close enough to promise the next one wouldn't miss. She slid behind a broken wall. Concrete bit into her ribs. Her breath came faster now. She forced it down. Forced everything down. The colonel shouted her call sign. She didn't answer. Because she finally understood. If she spoke, he'd find her. She checked her magazine. 3 rounds left. Enough? Or not? Snow muffled footsteps nearby. Friendly or enemy? She couldn't tell. Her grip tightened until it hurt. The ridge went completely dark. No movement. No sound. That was worse than gunfire. Her instincts screamed. She closed one eye. Lined up where she knew he had to be. Not where she saw him. Where he would choose. Her finger began to squeeze. At the same moment, something shifted behind her. And the night took a breath. Her body reacted before thought could catch up. She rolled hard to the side. The shot came where she had been. Stone exploded into powder. Pain tore across her back. Not deep. Enough to warn. She gasped and swallowed blood. The smell of iron filled her mouth. Boots hit the snow behind her. Too close. This wasn't the ridge. This was inside the wire. Her heart slammed once. Cold fear finally surfaced. Inside, she thought. How did you get inside? A shadow lunged. She swung the rifle like a club. Metal cracked bone. A grunt. The shadow fell, but not alone. Another shape moved beyond it. Faster. Quieter. Her magazine clicked empty. The sound was deafening. She reached for her sidearm. Hands slick with blood. The Christmas lights flickered again. Red washed over the snow. Then green. Then red. A knife flashed in the dark. Close enough to feel the wind of it. She stumbled back. Her heel caught wire. She went down hard. Air burst from her lungs. The world narrowed to pain and breath. Above her, a silhouette paused. Not rushing. Studying her. Just like the sniper would. She met his eyes. Calm. Focused. Recognition sparked between them. Not strangers. Never strangers. The colonel shouted somewhere far away. Gunfire erupted. Too late to matter. The figure leaned closer. His voice was low. Almost respectful. Merry Christmas, Viper! Her hand closed around the pistol. At the same moment, the lights went out. Darkness swallowed the outpost. Not soft. Absolute. The gunfire stopped as if cut by a blade. Snow kept falling. She lay still. Pain pulsed with her heartbeat. Her fingers tightened around the pistol grip. The man above her didn't move. Didn't rush. That scared her more than the knife. She listened. Breathing. Slow. Controlled. Too familiar. Her mind raced despite her training. Angles. Distance. Timing. A lifetime of habits fought for control. The smell of his coat reached her. Oil. Smoke. Cold metal. Not local. He shifted his weight slightly. Snow crunched once. Deliberate. Testing her. She kept her breath shallow. Counted heartbeats. 1. 2. Her injured back screamed. She welcomed the pain. Pain meant she was still alive. Somewhere, a radio clicked. Then died. The silence pressed in. He leaned closer again. Close enough that she could feel his warmth. Close enough to smell his breath. "You always did like the dark," he said. Her jaw clenched. She knew that voice. Hated that she knew it. Memories slammed into her. Another snowstorm. Another mission. A choice she never forgave herself for. Her thumb eased the safety. The sound was impossibly loud in her head. He smiled. She could hear it. "You won't," he said softly. "Not like this." Her finger tightened anyway. Because fear doesn't decide for her. She does. A flare suddenly ignited somewhere beyond the wire. White light flooded the night. Shadows snapped into shape. His eyes widened just enough. And in that frozen second, everything was about to change. The flare burned like a second moon. Snow turned silver. Blood turned black. She saw his face clearly now. Older than she remembered. Harder. A scar traced his jaw like a signature. Recognition cut deeper than pain. "So it is you," she thought. His smile faded. Not fear. Respect. Gunfire erupted again at the perimeter. Shouts echoed through the light. Orders broke apart mid-sentence. The colonel's voice roared her call sign. Too far. Always too far. He moved fast. Not away. Closer. His boot pressed against her wrist. Nerves screamed. The pistol slipped from her grasp. It landed inches away. Unreachable. "You should have stayed dead," he said. His knife hovered near her throat. Cold-kissed skin. She swallowed. Felt the blade tremble. Just slightly. That was new. "You hesitated," she said. Her voice was rough. "But you came back." His jaw tightened. The flare began to die. Light shrinking. Darkness crawling back in. Snow thickened, swallowing sound. He leaned closer. "So did you," he whispered. A rifle cracked somewhere behind him. Too close. Too late to know for who. His eyes flicked sideways. Just for a heartbeat. That was all she needed. She drove her knee up with everything left in her. Bone hit bone. A sharp breath. The knife slipped. But didn't fall. The flare went out completely. Darkness slammed back in. Bodies collided in the black. Someone shouted her name again. Hands grabbed her shoulders. Friendly or not. She couldn't tell. Because in the chaos, she felt his grip loosen. Felt him melt into the night. And before the snow erased his footsteps, his voice drifted back to her. "Next time," he said quietly. Her chest heaved. Pain flooded in all at once. The outpost burned. Christmas lights lay shattered in the snow. And Black Viper stared into the darkness. Knowing this war had just learned her name again. She tried to stand. Her legs didn't answer. Hands pulled her upright anyway. Rough. Urgent. "Medic!" someone shouted. The word felt far away. The colonel's face appeared in front of her. Snow clung to his eyelashes. "You with me?" he asked. She nodded once. Too tired to speak. Her ears rang. "Hi." Relentless. The outpost looked broken now. Sandbags torn open. Smoke crawling low across the ground. A body lay face down near the wire. Another near the tower. She counted without meaning to. Training never shuts off. The colonel followed her gaze. "They're gone," he said. Who? She asked. Her voice sounded foreign. All of them, he said. She shook her head. No, she whispered. Her vision blurred. Snow mixed with ash in the air. It was one, she said. He came for me. The colonel's jaw set. He didn't argue. That scared her more than denial would have. The medic pressed gauze to her back. Fire bloomed white-hot. She hissed but didn't pull away. Stay still, the medic said. She stared past him. At the ridge. At the place where the dark felt alive. The radio crackled back to life. Weak. Unstable. A voice cut through the static. Calm. Familiar. Command, this is Raven Actual, it said. Confirm Black Viper status. The colonel's eyes locked onto hers. He didn't answer right away. She felt the night lean in. Waiting. Somewhere beyond the hills. Someone else was listening too. The colonel pressed the radio closer to his mouth. His thumb hovered. He looked at her like he was weighing something heavier than rank. She held his stare. Blood soaked through the medic's gloves. Cold air bit into the wound. She didn't blink. Black Viper is alive, the colonel said. A beat. Then the radio breathed back. Copy that, Raven Actual replied. Too quick. Too controlled. She felt it in her gut. Someone else had wanted a different answer. The medic finished the rap. Lucky, he muttered. She almost laughed. Luck had nothing to do with it. The colonel leaned closer. Low voice. For what it's worth, he said. I pulled your file years ago. She met his eyes. Then you know, she said. He nodded once. Then you know this isn't over, he said back. Snow began to stick to the blood again. Covering it. Hiding the truth. Flares rose in the distance. Not theirs. The ridge glowed faintly. Like an answering signal. Her chest tightened. He's not done, she said. Not fear. Certainty. The colonel followed her gaze. Neither are you, he said. She let herself be lifted onto the stretcher. Straps tightened across her body. Pinned. Exposed. As they carried her toward the bunker, she caught one last movement on the hill. Just a silhouette. Still. Watching. Snow erased it a second later. Her eyes stayed open. Her hand curled slowly into a fist. Because Christmas Eve was almost over. And the night still hadn't decided who it belonged to. The bunker door sealed with a heavy metallic sigh. Warm air rushed over her face. It smelled like antiseptic and oil. Someone pulled the blanket higher around her shoulders. The noise of the outpost faded behind concrete and steel. Her eyes finally closed for a moment. Not sleep. Just rest. The colonel stood at the doorway. Watching the monitors. Watching the snow swallow the battlefield. Christmas is over, someone said quietly. He didn't answer. Because he knew better. She opened her eyes again. The ceiling lights hummed softly. Steady. Safe. For now. Her hand relaxed from a fist. Then slowly tightened again. Memory doesn't fade with daylight. Enemies don't disappear with snow. Above ground, the wind erased tracks. Below ground, plans were already forming. Black Viper breathed in. Breathed out. Alive. Still hunted. Still needed. And somewhere beyond the hills, a war that thought it was finished had just learned it was wrong.